Now it's time for Straight on the Point with Jesse T from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
All right, it's good to be back with you. The Brown Beauty is back on duty. It's time for the Jesse T Show. That's me, Jesse T. Good to have you along with us at facebook.com/Jesse Torero or Torero or Torero. Whatever way you want to call it. Just don't call me to do your dishes because I don't like doing dishes. That's right, but I'll do anything else. Hey, good to have you along with us here on a Thursday in Southern California. It is a beautiful day here in Los Angeles. The weather has been kind of strange, but that's June. It's called June gloom. That's what we call it here in LA over the decades and decades and decades. June kind of gets the overcast. The marine layer comes into the LA basin and cools everything down in the evening and kind of hangs in there till mid-afternoon. And then all of a sudden July hits and it's pretty clear because all that stuff burns off. The weather temperatures go up. But it's a beautiful day here in Southern California. I think the climate is about 75 degrees. I mean, see, that's the problem. The paradise here is absolutely beautiful, and people all around the nation see us and want to come here. And that really is the big issue, is that they want to come here. And they do, whether they have a home to come to or whether they are homeless, they actually get here some way, somehow. We talked about that yesterday with a gentleman running for lieutenant governor of the state of California, David Hernandez. And he's kind of doing it the old-fashioned way. You know, he's not a big-budget guy. There are people that have more money than him. He raised money, of course, but he's kind of doing it the politics at the back of the train kind of way Teddy Roosevelt did it. He's going in his car, going almost like door to door, from city to city to town, and from community event center and everything up and down California for the last year or so. That guy's working hard, and I sure liked a lot of things that he said yesterday. They were very interesting, and a couple of really cool ideas on how to solve some of the problems here in the state of California. Today, we are supposed to get a call from one of the gentlemen who are running on the Republican Party. They're running for governor. As you know, we are going to have a new governor here in the state here at some point here after June 5th, because Jerry Brown, thank you, El Stupido Brown, Moonchild, is finally going to quit and not be around Mr. Brown. I think he's done so much damage to the state of California during his last tenure. It's amazing that he wasn't recalled like Gray Davis was recalled. It's unbelievable that this guy lasted with some of the shenanigans and the money and the corruption that if you dig deep, you'll see it. The billions and billions of dollars that come into the state and that we taxpayers generate for the state, but it seems like nothing ever gets done at the state level. So it's good to see him. A friend of mine used to say, good riddance to bad meat. Yes, and he is bad meat. I've never been a Jerry Brown fan, even the first go-around when he was dating Linda Ronstadt and living in the governor's mansion with no furniture and smoking, baby, smoking and toking and having some fun, stroking with Linda Ronstadt. And guy's always been, you know, he sort of has been a pampered child when he was a kid. Of course, his father was governor of the state of California before him, so he's kind of been pampered and enabled and sure acts like it. So it's good to see that 80-year-old fogey get the heck out of town. Thank you very much. And a lot of the assembly are up for election too this year, and senators here in the state senators are up for election. So we might have a nice little turnout. We can't have what's called a super PAC, or where you have three different entities that are all on the same political party. We can't have that because then it's just left up to a few people to make the decisions for all of us. So we've got one of the things that we have to understand is that you have to have some diversity up there in Sacramento that we haven't had in 20 or 30 years. So we need to have that diversity up there. That's really important. So we are expecting and hope he can take a few minutes off the campaign trail, and Travis Allen is going to be checking in with us any minute now. We'll get the word. He's either going to be Skyping in at the Power of Voices or calling in on our request line at 424-227-9461. So this gentleman is running for actual governor of the state of California, and he's in a heated battle with a couple of individuals. So we're going to get his points of view and some of the things that he wants to do. I've seen him talk, and I've been to a couple of his rallies and speeches here in Southern California. So it's going to be exciting to have him on here. Saying hi to Joel Denver. Joel Denver, hey, buddy, what's happening, man? Hey, it's good to have you along. Joel Denver is a guy that started Access. I think it's Access, right? All the radio people. Oh, he's ready to go?
3 minutes.
About 3 minutes? Okay. So we'll have him up here in about 3 to 4 minutes, 5 minutes or so. That's Travis Allen. But Joel Denver started, Joel Denver started that Total Access Online. All Access Online. He's got us on right now, Joel. What's happening, buddy? Good to have you along. Lee Michaels is going to check in.
Hey, Joel, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, he's got us on right now.
We go all the way back to the 70s at WNOR, the Big 1230.
WNOR.
Norfolk.
Oh, boy, that's a different time.
Or is it Norfolk?
Really? What was that? What was that? Huh?
WNOR, Norfolk.
Right. You got to put the drawl, a little bit of that southern accent in there so you don't get mischievous with the word too much, right? But I bet you guys had fun with that word. Yeah, sometimes the radio station call letters you can really have a lot of fun with. Some of them are just, moron put them together because they make no sense at all. It's interesting as to how they come along and create call letters for TV stations and radio stations. I think there are some people that are genius at it, and some people are drunk when they do it in that respect. But Joel Denver has us on, and Joel and I never worked together, but we bumped into each other at conventions, and we bumped into each other at parties and such, and he's just a terrific guy, man. He's got this great online website that talks all about the record industry and music and the radio business. So if you're interested in how the inner workings of radio work, go to All Access and check it out. You'll be able to follow your favorite radio stars. And he's also getting into the high-tech stuff. Hey, good to have you along, Joel. Thanks a lot, brother. Check him out at allaccess.com. Saying hi to Listermate. Thanks, Listermate, who has us on at Instagram at Jesse Torero as we broadcast live here on TV on the social network that we've created here. Of course, that's a social media network of Facebook. We got on 3 or 4 Facebook sites, facebook.com/Jesse Torero, and then there's the Power of Voices, so check us out there. But we are trying to build now YouTube, the YouTube channel, YouTube Jesse Torero channel. We're live right there too as well. Also live here at Instagram live at Jesse Torero, and we're on Twitter and LinkedIn and Blogger and Periscope and Livestream and Google Plus and Pinterest and Reddit and Diggy and a whole bunch of other places. So it's good to have you along with us. And of course, our home format here is www.thepowerofvoices.com. You like the way I did that? Yeah, .com. You got to get me early in the morning, or if I had too much hot tea during the day, then my voice drops. Yeah. But during the day, no, I'm just a mid-range kind of guy. What happened? I was listening to a lot of radio today for some reason. I was driving around doing a lot of business out in the street. Remember radio maybe about 25 years ago, especially 30 years ago, all the radio personalities had voices of God. They all had these voices that, it's like they were resonating from the magma in Hawaii. They were booming out there like woofer style. They had like these big giant, 24-inch woofers, Soren Vegas or JBL woofers coming out of their mouth. Now they've got Now everybody's voice is like the tweeters. I mean, it's not even mid-range anymore. It's, I've got sort of a mid-range voice, but you listen to a lot of radio and TV announcers. Now they're all up here. They're all like, it's the tweeters, the horns. And it's amazing how the tide has shifted in terms of the listening of voices on the radio. It's just interesting observations I make. So good to have you along. Deshaun McMillan has us on. Maurice Blevins has us on. Thank you, Maurice. And I'm going to totally screw this person's name up. I'm going to just destroy it. So I'm letting you know that beforehand. Memdo Kayashinkai. Memdo Kayokashinkai. All right. Yeah. Why can't you just say Michael Kismet? I mean, why do you have to have a name like that, Memdo? What's wrong? Were your parents drunk or something? I mean, Memdo Kayokashinkai? I mean, that's kind of cool. Wait, well, let me think about that a second. Memdo. Yeah, Memdo is kind of cool, but Kayokashinkai, boy, that's a long one. Kayokashinkai. I'm getting it though. It sounds Oriental. It sounds Asian, but it kind of maybe sounds like somewhere in Russia too. Kayokashinkai. Right? Something like that. Yeah, I think it's Japanese. Yeah, that's all right. I like that. Listermate says the reason why radio sucks is because you used to have to go to school for radio broadcasting and pay the dues. Now they practically let anyone with a voice on the air. And that's true. That's true. I mean, if you're swashbuckling the janitor job at a station, you just might be the next superstar doing afternoon drive. I mean, that's what you're absolutely right. That's for sure. Jesse and the Fancy Cats has us on, and they're singers out on the East Coast. They're autistic, so that's kind of cool. Say hi to Jay Montalvo. I would like to say hi to everybody before we really get started here. They're going to be at Carolina Beach Music Concerts on June 15th and the 16th, and this is a cool kind of group because they're autistic singers. And they're very unique. Jesse Earl Leopard. Jesse and the Fancy Cats. Junior Friday has us on. Ronald C. Barcy and Izzy Camarillo. When I worked in Oxnard or Ventura eons and eons ago, Camarillo, I used to call it Camardillo because it was slow. But now it's not so slow anymore. Boy, that place is packed out. Things do change. All right, so we are expecting Travis Allen to check in with us. We're going to talk some of the issues here in the state of California. And Lee's going to let me know when they're online. Are they going to Skype, Lee? They're going to try to Skype us in? Okay, that's good. That'd be great to be able to see him. That way you folks can see him too. Now, some of you are only taking the audio feed, and some of you get just the visual feed of yours truly here, Jesse T, and my audio feed. I mean, sometimes you won't pick up what we bring in on Skype and stuff on some of these formats that we have right here live, but you can always go to our channel at facebook.com/Jesse Terrero. There's Travis right there. Bring him up. As soon as you bring him up, we'll put him on at that. There he is. Travis Allen, everybody. Hey, Travis, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good being with you. How am I coming through? Okay, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I hear you. Absolutely beautiful, man. Excellent. And quite the handsome gentleman he is. Look at that. Dressed up in his suit, looking great in that corridor there. Where are you at?
So we are actually, and this is at the California legislature. This is one of the sides. I can't remember which direction. Is it the west face? It's we're on the west side of the Capitol. So this actually belongs to you. If you're a California citizen, I am standing on your property right now. And the legislature's in session. They're taking a little break for dinner. They're actually really doing work for a change today. So they're going to try to get through about 150 bills. I will tell you right now, the work they're doing, literally, these guys didn't even need to show up for work. You could have just axed almost every single one of these bills, and you would have been better off in the state of California.
Yeah, the one thing I've noticed over the years and the decades in California, I guess it's decades now. I'm 57, so you kind of get my timeline. But certainly I can remember back when I was 25, and these last 25 years or so, California has really shifted from what used to be more for the people, but seems to be more for the deep pockets of the politicians.
Yeah, this is the problem. And it wasn't just 25 years. It's 39 of the last 40 years. And what happened was the California Democrats have run this legislature, both houses, the Senate and the Assembly, for 39 of the last 40 years. So if you don't like sitting in the nation's worst traffic, blame a Democrat. They could have fixed the roads anytime they wanted, but they didn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like paying among the highest taxes in the nation, whether it's sales tax, gas tax, income tax, corporate tax, blame the Democrat. If you don't like, the highest in the nation poverty, highest in the nation homelessness, or rising violent crime, all of those laws have been passed by California Democrats over the last 39 years. And so I got to tell you, this building that I stand on today, the reason, I'm running for governor, and I'm going to be your next governor of the state of California, the reason that I'm running is to take this building back to the people of California. You are no longer represented here. You are in the minority, and you are forgotten. And this is the problem. The silent supermajority has been forgotten for far too long in California. It's time we take our state back.
Yeah, and you mentioned a couple of things in there. And folks, let me kind of introduce Travis Allen again. He's running for governor here in the state of California. He's a Republican, conservative. And I believe you come out of Orange County, down here south. And he's been very proactive in fighting some of the overcharging, the overcost of these bills that the Democrats have put up over the last 40 years. And the Democrats really have to take this and they have to own it because, as you said, for 39 to 40 years, it really, the Assembly, the Senate, and the governorship has been basically, for the most part, Democratic. So everything that we have are experiencing right now, we're in Los Angeles, good, bad, or indifferent, is on the backs of the Democrats. And my one question that I wanted to ask you, which is many, but how and why is there no logic or common sense in Sacramento anymore? It's like, where has logic and common sense gone, Travis?
Exactly. The problem is the Democrats have been in power for so long. They're probably in our family, which is why Christmas is so much fun. But, most of these are just rational, sensible people. And, the problem is that they are no longer represented by their own party. This California Democrat Party of today, JFK wouldn't even recognize it. I mean, what they want now is single-payer health care, which means you're going to lose your doctor. You're going to have to go to the DMV to get your medical care, right? They want to raise your taxes. They have all these soft-on-crime laws. They have the open border policies in the illegal sanctuary state. Now they have this gas tax, which is a direct tax on poor people, and we never even got a chance to vote on it. This is the problem, is that today it is so lopsided in California that the governor's seat and all of the constitutional offices are all Democrat. The legislature, both houses, are supermajority Democrat. That was only recently broken because we threw out a couple of these people over sexual harassment allegations. I mean, you are not being represented, and you haven't been represented for a long time in California. It's not just 39 of the last 40 years in the California state legislature. It's also 24 of the last 50 years where Jerry Brown and his father have run the governor's seat and driven California into the ground.
So, Travis, let me ask you this question. And in thinking some of the things I wanted to talk about today, in order to change California, we have to change the status quo. But Americans today are very concerned that the status quo never gets changed, no matter whether it's a Democrat, an independent, a Republican, a conservative, a liberal, whatever you want to call the citizens and whatever they want to call the politicians. But it always seems to be the same old, the same rhetoric, the same money, the same backing. And when they get to the points of power, the same things happen, maybe a little variation here or there. What makes you so different in California that the citizens of California should trust you, Travis?
Exactly. So look, what you're talking about is the people of California getting sold out time and time again. And it's not just been by the Democrats, although they're the principal perpetrators. We already know that what they think is wrong and that they got these policies that are ruining the state of California. And you don't have to take my word for it. I mean, look at a place like Detroit, not a Republican elected for 60 years. They took the fourth greatest city in the United States and ruined it over 60 years. I mean, now you can buy a home for $1 and you can do urban farming. That's what 6 decades of Democrat control does. You take a look at San Francisco, 22,000 intravenous drug users on the streets every single day. They're going to open up 2, not just 1, but 2 legalized heroin injection centers in July. It's so bad in that city now. You got maps of human waste, so you know which streets you can walk on and which streets you should really avoid. And kids got to walk to school over hypodermic needles. That is a city that has not elected a Republican governor or a Republican mayor in 50 years. This is Gavin Newsom's city. So it shows you what these guys do. But listen, the problem is not just the Democrats. It's also these establishment do-nothing Republicans. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. These are guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger who get elected saying all the right things. They say they're going to be a conservative. Then they get to office and they turn into a Democrat.
Well, yeah, I mean, we get the recall on Gray Davis. Arnold gets in there, and everybody thinks that something terrific is going to take place, and it's just nothing takes. In fact, it gets worse. And I think the taste of that still lingers in Californians' mind. They remember Arnold really well. You can't forget the guy. I mean, he's in the films every single day. So, you know, that taste, and that's a hard thing to get across. Are you finding that the citizens are saying, well, okay, but prove to me that you are going to be the Republican conservative that's going to speak for me?
So here's the answer. Look, this is the problem with the Republican establishment. These are the ultra-rich Republicans that are trying to tell you who your candidate is going to be. They gave you Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was a Republican for all of a year. Once he got beat at the ballot box, he went home to a Kennedy Democrat. He went to the office, and there was a Democrat chief of staff waiting for him, and that was the last we ever saw. And then he gave us AB 32, the cap-and-trade tax. I mean, this is what he turned into. Then they gave us Meg Whitman and then Neil Kashkari. Look, Meg Whitman thought she could buy the governor's race. She not only recently supported Hillary Clinton, now she's endorsing Antonio Villaraigosa for governor, a Democrat.
No,
this shows
no,
you
please,
she's got no principles.
Not Tony V. No, not Tony V. down here in Los Angeles. I put up enough with this guy. I mean, this guy was something else. Tony V., the guy who likes to take lots of trips and set up his network after he retires. Yeah.
That's it. And think about this. In 2014, they gave us Neil Kashkari, who in his previous presidential election, he voted for Barack Hussein Obama. And it's no wonder that Republicans didn't even show up for this guy, because they say, wait a second, we couldn't trust Arnold. We can't trust Meg. We can't trust Neil. Now what they're trying to do to you is they're trying to give you this guy, John Cox. John Cox, by the way, he was able to get Trump's endorsement because the establishment swamp brought bad information to Trump. Again, this guy's not even from California. He's from Chicago. He's previously run for President of the United States, U.S. Senate, U.S. Congress, even county clerk recorder in Illinois, lost every single time. But it gets worse because he's a never Trumper. So he moved here as a resident in 2011, didn't even vote in 2014. And in 2016, he was a never Trumper that voted for Gary Johnson, who believes in open borders, legalized drugs, legalized prostitution, and he's pro-choice. So now contrast that to me. Look, I've been in a state legislature since 2012. I was born and raised right here in the state of California. I'm a business owner. I manage money. Started managing money in 96, opened up my company in 2001. I still work every single day because I think your legislators should have to live and work in the real world, which is why I believe in a part-time legislature, just like Texas, just like Florida. Let them work for 3 months out of the year, then send them home, force them to work real jobs and pay taxes and live under the same laws the rest of us do.
And let me interrupt you here just for a second, Travis. Let me interrupt you just for a second, because you keyed on something here that has been a pet peeve of my that's bothered me, and it revolves around the reality of politicians and this lofty world they move into, this city in the clouds that they move into, versus everybody's reality that we, the citizens, live in every single day. There's quite a contrast, and it all revolves around term limits. It revolves around the ability of being able to bring outside monies, so much money to win a political race. I mean, these are the types of issues that really bother people, because people don't live like most of the politicians live when they get there. And so how are you going to be different in that arena? You touched on it just there for a second.
That's right. So look, I don't wear it on my sleeve, but I'm a biblical kind of guy, right? Mm-hmm. You judge a tree by its fruits and a man by his actions. So all you got to do is take a look at what I have done. I'm a lifelong Republican. Of course, I always voted Republican. Of course, I supported the Republican nominee for president, Donald J. Trump. I'm the only guy in the race that actually voted for him, supported him. I even wrote op-eds for Trump. I mean, back in May of 2016, I wrote an op-ed that said, it's time for Republicans to unify behind Trump. This is after Cruz dropped out, and it was only Donald versus crooked Hillary. I mean, it was a very easy choice, right?
Yeah. So
you look at somebody's track record. I have a rock-solid conservative vote record. I'm actually the most conservative legislator in this building right here. 100% vote record from Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association. 100% vote record from the California Taxpayer Association. 100% from the National Federation of Independent Business Owners. A and an A+ from the NRA and the Firearms Policy Coalition, because the Second Amendment is a right. It is not a privilege. And oh yeah, I'm pro-life as well, and I get a 0% for Planned Parenthood. So this is how you know what you're getting, because you actually look and you say, what has this person done? What has Travis done when he's in office? And the answer is every single speech I've made, every single vote that I've cast, every single social media post I've done at Join Travis Allen on Facebook. Go back 5 years, and the story is always exactly the same. The story is putting the power back in the hands of ordinary Californians, stopping these crazy tax increases, stopping these crazy laws of the California Democrats, and finally bringing balance back to the state of California and taking real steps to make our state, once again, the greatest state in the nation. And I mean, you've heard my 5-point plan. It's as simple as it comes.
Tell our audience your 5-point plan.
Yeah. Cut taxes, get tough on crime, fix our roads, expand our freeways, fix our broken education system, complete the California State Water Project.
But wait a minute, Travis. Weren't we
These are common sense things.
But wait a minute. Wait a second here. Didn't Jerry Brown, El Stupido Brown, didn't he raise our taxes 25 cents on a gallon of gas to create better roads and better highways for us? But wait a second. It's going to build something in Santa Ana that's 1.5 miles long, a rail system that nobody's going to use, but we got potholes on the freeway. So
that's right.
So what's going on there, Travis? What's happening?
Second worst roads in the nation, worst traffic in the entire country. When Jerry Brown was first elected in 2010, the California General Fund was at $86 billion. That's how much tax revenue they were getting from the general fund. Now it's $138 billion. In just 8 years, that's an increase of over $52 billion, or 50% of your taxpayer money coming to Sacramento. Now he wants to tell you that he needs more money for a gas tax. They don't need any more money. They got to run the state like a business. They got money coming out their ears. I mean, listen, I'm in the legislature right now. We're on a little break, for a 30-minute break right now.
Right.
These guys are finding new ways. And when I say these guys, I mean the California Democrats are always finding new ways to blow your money. And the problem is it's not their money. It's our money. It belongs to all of us. Look, the way I see taxpayer dollars is like church money. It doesn't belong to these politicians. It doesn't belong to the governor or the legislature. It belongs to the people of California. That is your hard-earned cash. And if the state is going to take it as taxes, you better believe they better get the very best value out of it. And if they don't need the excess money, they return it back to the California taxpayers. And I'll give you a very concrete example.
Okay.
In my very first budget, I mean, you already know I'm the original author of the gas tax repeal.
Yeah.
That's day one. We repeal that because we don't need it. In my very first budget as your next governor, state of California, I will defund the high-speed rail, and I will return every single dollar back to the California taxpayer exactly where it belongs. But I'll tell you, we're going to do one thing. You've seen that section of bridge. It's in the middle of a field. It's the little bit of the high-speed rail that they have built. It's an empty bridge
out of nowhere.
in the middle of an empty field. Right? I'm going to leave that. That's going to stay because we're going to hang a sign on that, and the sign's going to read Jerry Brown's legacy, so nobody ever forgets that's all he ever did for us.
Well, you can put Feinstein and you can put Frankenstein and Pigolosi there too, because they're all part of the whole same system there, and that's one of the things that frustrates a lot of people is that the system, when you have the Senate, the Assembly, and the governor under left-wing liberal, left-wing activists, basically that's what they are. They're not even Democrats anymore. Like you mentioned, they're not the Democratic Party of JFK, that's for sure. And they own and govern, and they can make judgments and decisions for all of us. 3 people in the state of California earmark all the funds, can do this. So you're going to get in there. I know one of the things you're going to repeal that. Tell me something. Day one, week one, when you become governor of California, some of the things that you can effectively do to make immediate change.
Absolutely. Look, it's going to be the best 8 years of your life. And let's be very clear. There's only one reason to vote for Travis Allen, and that's because you want to take back California. There's no other candidate, and literally none. I've debated all of them on the stage, and I've beaten all of them on stage. If you want to watch the debate, it's on my Facebook at Join Travis Allen. Watch the full NBC debate that was statewide just 3 weeks ago. Every single poll had me winning that entire debate by 80% or more. And it was very simple because there's only one guy on the stage that's actually telling the truth to the California people that can beat Gavin Newsom and the Democrats. This is not about a race to second place. This is a race to number 1. Because unless you win the governor's seat of California, you don't get anything. The view from second place never changes, and it's not pretty. So when I get elected and I'm your governor on day one, what we're going to do is we'll have already repealed the gas tax. That's coming in November on your ballot, so that's gone. Then what we do is we start gathering the signatures up and down the state. Because remember, the governor can't pass laws. The governor can only put items on the special elections on the ballot. And the governor can fire all of these people, in the state agencies. So listen to this. Day one, I will begin gathering the signatures. So in my first 100 days in office, I can call the special election to repeal and reverse the illegal sanctuary state. That's step 1. Step 2, as part of that same process, we are going to get voter ID in California to get rid of all this ridiculous election fraud. If I need my ID to get onto a plane, cash a check, or use my credit card at the grocery store, you better believe we should need our ID to vote. And it's going to be a real California ID, and it's not going to be one of these illegal immigrant driver's licenses, because that's going to end as well. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, I mentioned a moment ago, the great thing about the next governor of the state of California, the ability there, is you're the chief executive of California. You get to hire and fire all of these bureaucrats, unelected bureaucrats on all of these state agencies. Over 500 state agencies, wasting your money, totally unaccountable. On day one, we are going to fire Mary Nichols out of CARB, the California Air Resources Board, because literally these guys exist just to tax and regulate our businesses out of California. And on day one, you better believe I'm also going to fire, Janet Napolitano at the UC system. This was the person that was stashing away $175 million in a slush fund and taking limousines and all these lavish trips while she was raising tuition on our college kids. So day one, Mary Nichols is out of a job, Janet Napolitano is fired. And you better believe this whole state's going to turn around really quickly, and it will be the 8 best years of your life.
Where are you on immigration and the wall?
Yep, I am the only person in the entire race that has always said firmly, unequivocally, we must secure our borders, and yes, we must build that wall. It's simple. Look, when you leave your house in the morning, you lock your front door. When you leave your car, you lock your car. Why wouldn't we secure our border so we know who's coming into our country, so they've been vetted, right? Anybody's welcome to come in as long as you come in the front door and the right way. So there's the other Republican that we talked about a moment ago in the race, or so-called Republican. His name's John Cox. And this guy, to say he's flip-flop on the wall is an understatement. In 2006, he wrote a book. You can buy it on Amazon. It's called Politics. In there, he says the wall is not a good idea. Then he ran unsuccessfully for president, believe it or not, in 2007. During that run of his, the failed run, he said on camera that he parted company with people that wanted to build a wall. As recently as January of this year, he told Univision and Latino audiences that he didn't think a wall was a good idea. Now he's trying to tell Republicans that he's in favor of the wall. So this guy can't figure out where he is depending on the day of the week. The answer is what we need a secure border. We need a candidate that has always kept the same story, which is, yes, this is our country. We're a sovereign nation. We have a right to secure our border, to build that wall, to know who comes into our state. And you better believe when Travis Allen is your next governor of the state of California, we will enforce federal immigration law.
One of the problems with the border states here in America is that not all the states at the governorship level agree with your statements, and we're going to have a sporadic wall of here, a wall there, a wall there, a wall here. Where's the wall going to end up next time? But in California, one of the things that I noticed when the Central Americans were coming across Mexico, and by the way, Mexico let them do that, and they have some of the most stringent illegal immigration laws in the world in Mexico. But they were coming across Mexico.
And by the way, Mexico also has one of the most stringent voter ID laws in the entire world as well.
Absolutely.
To get a voter ID, you got to pay money. It's a picture of your face. It's your thumbprint. You get a separate card with a magnetic strip on the back and a hologram on the front. So, I mean, you got to remember, if it's not racist in Mexico, it's not racist here either.
Well, one of the things you noticed when they were out there covering this and they finally got to the wall, the people were scaling the Mexican side of the wall, sitting on top of the metal fence there, but they weren't coming over. So are you telling me a wall won't work? It was working right there. That 20-foot wall, that 15-foot wall was working like a charm right there. Nobody came past that wall. So a wall will work. At least it establishes the ability for a sovereign nation to protect its borders. And I've always been a legal advocate of immigration. You want to set higher numbers for that? That's fine. You want to allow millions more people in legally? That's fine. I believe that we have to somehow make our legal immigration federal system and regulations and laws. We have to revamp those because they're ancient, and we have to make it easier for good citizens coming from good places around the world to come to our country and participate in our country in a good and meaningful way. Not Fast and Furious and MS-13 and El Norte and all these gangs that are starting to come through now. So where are you on this crime element that's blowing up in San Diego and Los Angeles and San Francisco and Sacramento? You guys got a crime problem there that's going through the ceiling.
It's unreal. Now, let me clarify a couple things. Number one, immigration is a federal issue. It's not a state issue. So as the next governor of the state of California, I will enforce federal immigration law. And for all of those people out there that want to say our immigration system is broken, our immigration system is not broken. It works just fine. There are a ton of people that have come to this country legally, the right way. They waited in line, they waited their turn, and they've done it completely legally. So it's a fallacy of the left to say that our immigration system is broken. Some of these people might not like it, but it certainly functions just fine. So the first answer is we're going to enforce federal immigration law. We're going to secure that border. Now, past that, when you're talking about this criminal element that's coming in or what they're doing in other states that could then bleed over into California, the answer is very simple. Trump called Jerry Brown. He said, put some National Guard down at the border. Jerry Brown sent some, but then he handcuffed them and told them what they could and couldn't do. When Trump calls Governor Travis Allen, I'm going to say, look, Trump, Mr. President, they're already there, and there's no restrictions on it. If you want more, we're going to go send more. Because we have a right to defend our border. We have a right to defend our nation. We are a sovereign nation, just like Mexico's a sovereign nation. Look, it's all good. We could have far worse neighbors. There's a lot of great things about Mexico. They understand that they're their own country and we are our own country, and there is a border for a reason. When you start talking about these MS-13 gang members and all the drug cartels and all the human trafficking that's going on, across the border, once we secure that border, once we make sure that the Border Patrol has the support that they need, that the National Guard is doing the job that they can do to fill in those holes, to make sure that we have a secure border, I'll tell you, we begin to crack down on all of that illicit activity. And this makes every single Californian safer, because it doesn't matter where you live in the state. If it comes in through the southern border, these criminal elements are going to go all throughout the entire state. And so you might think, look, I'm in the north of the state. This is not going to affect me. It's going to affect everybody in California. You have a right to a secure border, just like you have a right to lock your door when you leave your house in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And California historically has been a place that most immigrants want to come to. Our weather, our industry, our business, our expansion, our the creative process here in Southern and Northern California, Silicon Valley, all the great things that are coming across the nation now. So goes California, so goes America. We lead the nation in its trends and its ingenuity, and in that respect. And education here in the state of California has changed dramatically over the last 40 to 45 years. We've lost our way with education, and we have the deferred payments that are just strangling the state, strangling the counties, strangling the cities. How are we going to address those issues so that the next generation of young Americans can have the ability to be competitive with China, with Europe, with Russia, with India? How can we, and they're all state subsidized, I mean, totally. So what can we do in California on the education tip to help our young people get to schools that are safe, that are not shot up, that don't have metal detectors at the front doors, that they can feel like they can learn something? What is your plan for that?
So it's a great question. I'm going to go back to my 5-point plan. Number 1, you're cutting taxes. Number 2, we're getting tough on crime. Number 3, we're fixing your roads and expanding your freeways with no new taxpayer dollars. Number 4, we are fixing the broken education system. And 5, of course, is completing the California State Water Project, so we're not in these perpetual droughts. We actually build water storage. But let's hit number 4 hard. Fixing the broken education system in California. When we went to school, I went to California Public School. I'm guessing you may have as well. I did too. And a lot of us did. They used to be the best schools in the nation.
Absolutely.
I mean, literally, they're the best in the nation. Our kids are now 46 and 47 in reading and math. It is abysmal. Only 30% of our ninth graders are ever expected to finish a 4-year college degree. So what we got to do is, number 1, we have to bring accountability back to the schools. We have to test our kids when they go into the grades so we know where they start. Then we need to test them when they go out of the grades to guarantee that they've learned the skills they need to go on to the next level. No longer are we going to do this social promotion nonsense. No longer are 5th graders going to be reading at the 2nd grade level. We are going to ensure they learn skills like reading and writing and math. And by the way, we're going to get rid of the statewide mandated Common Core and the leftist propaganda that's all through our schools. We are going to put it back to the local districts to allow them to decide their curriculum. But we will, like I said, test every child to make sure that no longer does every kid get a trophy. They're going to have to earn their education in California.
Well, that's what it used to be like when we were growing up, when we were kids. Each community adjusted the type of education. They had the basic curriculum, but each high school, junior high school, they were called at that time, elementary schools, would adjust the education and had a relationship with the parents that allowed them to participate with the teachers and the principals and be able to adjust the education for the group of people that were going to that school. But all of a sudden in the 1980s, it changed to this core stuff. And I'm happy to hear that we're going to get rid of that.
That's right. And by the way, too, there's this big fight in California where the California Teachers Union has been spending hundreds of millions of dollars to elect Democrats. 99% of their political contributions go to Democrats. They are supporting Gavin Newsom, to give you an idea. These public schools, unfortunately, are trying to shut out competition. They're trying to shut out charter schools and homeschooling in California. That is simply not right. Look, if our public education system is to be healthy and vibrant and competitive, we must actually have competition. So parents must be given the right to send their kids to the very best public school, the very best charter school, or even homeschool their children if they wish in the state of California. We're going to make sure that all the kids are held accountable and they're actually learning reading and writing and math and the skills that they need. But we're going to give parents the choice to send their kids to the very best schools, whether they're public charter or homeschool. And this is how you begin to reform education in California. Because I'll tell you right now, I got a 9-year-old daughter. She's in California public schools. And there is a reason, I can tell you as a parent, There is a reason why we see tutoring centers everywhere across the state of California, because the education they're getting in their classes is no longer enough. And it didn't used to be that way. We used to have great schools that were rigorous, where you actually had real homework and you learned the basic skills you need. That is all changed. And having kids that are 46th and 47th in reading and math is a failure to every single child in California. We got to make sure that our education system, once again, puts the education of our children first.
How do we fund that, though, with the state running into deficits in certain departments and certain arenas? I mean, how do we fund these monumental changes? Because once you come off that core system, you're going to have to fund at the local level somehow, some way, to get that unity with the community and the school. So what is your proposal that we can fund these changes that you're talking about?
So listen, per pupil spending in California is set to be about $16,000 in this upcoming year. It's not a question of funding.
Okay.
We have, Jerry Brown, for the last 8 years, increased education funding by almost 50% in the last 8 years alone, yet our national ranking slipped that entire time. It's not a question of just throwing more money at a broken system. It's structural reform that you need in the system. And realize this, there is a lot of bloat in that system as well. There's a lot of dollars that are not getting into the classrooms, to benefit our children. I think teachers do phenomenal jobs and they should be rewarded. But when we have all these extra layers of administrators, et cetera, sucking money out of the system that is not going toward the education of our children, there is a real problem. So it's not just a question of money, because there's plenty of money in California. The real answer is, when are we going to get serious about educational reform? And those three things that I brought up are very simple, direct steps that will dramatically benefit the education of our kids in California. Once again, get rid of statewide mandated Common Core, get rid of the leftist propaganda in schools, allow parents to send their kids to the very best public, charter, or even homeschool their children if they wish. And lastly, hold every kid accountable by testing every child when they go into the grade and they go out of the grades, so we can actually guarantee that those kids are getting the education they're supposed to in our schools.
Yeah, either you pass or fail. I mean, there's no in-between grade that's created just so they can bump you along. You either pass a grade or you don't, and if you don't pass it, then you got to retake it. I mean, that's the way I learned. That's the way everybody else learned, and more people passed than did not pass. Runaway businesses in California is a big problem. Major corporations are leaving because of the taxes that are being imposed upon them at the state, county, and local level. I mean, how do we stop these major corporations that are just pulling up stakes and saying, I can't do business in California anymore? Health costs, tax costs, water costs, power costs. I either go to another state or I go to China, and I don't want to go to China, so I got to move. So how do we stop runaway businesses from leaving us?
So you remember my 5-point plan: cut taxes, get tough on crime, fix our roads, expand our freeways, fix our broken education system, fix and complete the California State Water Project. The very first point is cutting taxes in California. Look, in 2016, we took back our country with Donald Trump, and he did one thing that, with this one move, by cutting taxes, he made everybody's life better, whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or don't even care about politics. By cutting taxes at the national level, Trump created over $8 trillion of new wealth. With this one tax cut package, all of a sudden now, you have unemployment at the lowest level ever in recorded history for Latinos and African Americans. Lowest unemployment overall since 2000. Lowest jobless claims since the year I was born in 1973. Think about this. With that one package of tax cuts, Apple is now moving back $358 billion to the United States, creating 30,000 jobs. Home Depot is giving $1,000 bonuses to their employees, and Walmart, even Walmart, is giving raises. So, this is the power of cutting taxes. So this is what we do in California. We cut our income tax, we cut our sales tax, we cut our corporate tax, and of course, on day one, we're getting rid of that extra gas tax that we don't need. What this does, it sends a very clear message to all the businesses around the country and around the world that California is open for business. And then what we do is we go after all of those rogue state agencies with all of their pages and pages of regulations that are drowning out the businesses. These are all of the complications that as a business owner you have to go through. All the agencies you got to work with that have all these, various reporting requirements and expensive regulations that lead to costly litigation. We have to cut regulations in California just like they cut them at the federal level. Trump announced just a few months ago that they'd cut 22 regulations for every new regulation they put in place at the federal level. That's what we got to do in California. So very simple plan: cut taxes, cut regulations, and hang a sign on this building right here that is big and bright and neon, and it's going to read "Open for Business."
Okay, so now we've cut all his taxes. The first 100 days, we've limited the size of government. We've cut the size of government down. We've solved that problem. How do you raise money? Is there enough money left to fund the government, to fund the state, to fund the things that we do need that we can't cut? Where does that money come from? If you cut all these taxes, then where is that money going to be generated from in order to continue the state to grow and fund the departments and packages that we need to have funded? Some of the things you're talking about. How do we support ourselves?
Okay, so look, this is very, very straightforward. I'm an economist by trade. I got my degree in economics, started managing money in '96, opened up my own company, which I still run to this day, and we manage money. It's economics by trade. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, the myth of the left, the myth of the California Democrats, is that there is a pie, and that the pie is always the same size, and that's the tax revenue. And so if you take a big slice, that's less for me, and vice versa. And this is why they're always trying to pull as much tax as possible and get as much of that pie as they can. But it's a myth. See, because the pie never stays the same size. The pie is always increasing or shrinking depending on what you're doing. If you start taking more taxes out of the pockets of hardworking Californians, they produce less because they're getting hit harder. So the pie shrinks. So that's why when you start raising taxes, businesses start to leave. You actually will collect less money through time because people say, wait a second, why stick around in California? I can go across the border into Arizona or Nevada or any other place I want to Texas, and pay a lot less taxes, and I'm out of here. And then you lost all of that money. So the better answer is this. It's to grow the pie. And how do you grow the pie? You cut taxes, which puts more money in everybody's pocket. And think about what this means. When we cut taxes in California and you have more money in your wallet, you're going to go spend more money. Homeowners are going to upgrade their houses. Business owners are going to hire more employees. They're going to expand. And as they do, there's more money that goes into the economy, which means that even though you lower taxes, what you have now done is you've actually created more tax revenue for the state. So it's a win-win circumstance where we're all paying less in taxes, but because we're paying less, we're actually working harder. Businesses are creating even more jobs, which means ultimately more tax revenue. And this is actually how, through time, tax cuts are the best thing you could possibly do for revenue in your state, because it encourages more investment in your state. It encourages everybody to work harder because you can work harder and you get to keep more of it.
Well, and if you look at the practicality of what you're saying, and in real time, that's what Donald Trump did. That's what President Trump did. Absolutely. And so now we have unemployment that has gone so low right now, and in all the minority and just straight across the board, people are making more money. People are working. People are spending more money. There's still the concerns, of course, that are out there. That is this going to last? It is not going to last. But this is what's happening, and businesses are coming back. And businesses are starting to hire more people, starting to do that. So your theory and what you're talking about is really not a theory. It's really working right now on the federal level. So we're just...
Well, this stuff is proven. You can see it right now. The United States is going to have record tax revenue, even though we just cut taxes. And this is the story. I mean, look, when you cut taxes, you increase the size of the pie. It means you get more and I get more.
Right.
And when we get more, we don't sit on that money. I mean, think about it. If you put the money in the bank, the bank's going to loan it to somebody to build something, right?
Right.
You put it in the bank, you're going to loan it to a business. You put it in the stock market, that goes to a company, they're going to use it. You use
a business for 40 years, real estate broker and loans. That's what I do. And my business has increased tremendously since President Trump became president because people are spending more money. People are buying. They're feeling, the important thing is they're feeling better about their personal situation and taking the risk and the chance that they know that they're going to be okay in the future. So, hey, let's buy this while we can right now because we're making more money and our job is stable, and we'll figure out if something happens later on, but we feel confident now. And that's really the key, the confidence. Well, I'll tell you one thing that the California has no confidence in is the homeless problem, because it has just exacerbated across the state. I don't care where you're at. Of course, LA has 60,000 homeless people. I mean, I've counted the homeless. I'm the director against the Coalition Against Human Trafficking. I've been fighting human trafficking for 10 years here in Los Angeles in the San Fernando Road. And I'd like to talk to you about that if we have some time. But the key is homelessness. Homelessness. It seems like they throw money at it. They throw money at it. They throw money at it. Nothing solves. We got 55 blocks of Skid Row now, 55 blocks in downtown Los Angeles, and that's in San Francisco and Fresno and Sacramento and Bakersfield. The homelessness is out of control. Give me some of your ideas in looking at homelessness. How do we help the homeless become homebound people, not homeless people? And how do we support that in the same question, because it's money, but the money doesn't seem to be working. So what can you do, Travis, when you're governor, to alleviate this situation and get it going in the right direction?
So this is a great question. Why is homelessness exploded in California? Any city you can look, and there's homeless people all over the place. They're on our streets, they're on our sidewalks, they're on our freeway overpasses, sleeping under those bridges, on the side of the road. You see the tents everywhere. In Los Angeles, which is the city of Tony Villar, as we were just talking about a minute ago, 58,000 homeless people, went up by 23% just last year alone. Think about this. In the streets of San Francisco, 22,000 intravenous homeless drug users on the streets every single day. But it's every community that you've seen. And so you gotta take a look at what the problem is. The problem is California is an incredible magnet because we've got great weather year round. And, they have had this soft on crime policy and soft on homelessness policy. We have laws against homelessness in California. We have laws against vagrancy. We have laws against loitering. We have laws against public camping. But the cities are no longer enforcing these laws because they're scared of the ACLU. Then the first answer is this: we enforce the laws. We get these people off of the streets. And then what we do is we have statewide institutions like we used to have, but we do it much better than we've ever done it in the past. We need a place that's run by the state where people that are homeless, that have mental health issues, can get the help they need. If they have substance abuse issues, they can get the substance abuse counseling they need. If all they need is a roof over their head so they can get a leg up and get that next job, that will be provided for them.
Well, we have found, Travis, when we counted, I interrupt you here, we found when we counted the homeless, and I worked in the San Fernando Valley daily with homeless people and in fighting the human trafficking aspects, and we bumped into the homeless and the gang problem and the crime problem because all that sort of is part of the same pie. But we found that about 2/3 of the people that are homeless, about 1/3 of them really actually want to get off the street, and they're there for 18 months to 24 months, and then they're off the street, re-educated. They're living somewhere. Their families, they're back in the mainstream. But about 2/3 of the people, about 1/3 of them don't. They're gone. They're gone to society for whatever reasons. They're psychologically totally impaired now, physically impaired. Okay, and then there's about 1/3 of them or so that like being on the street.
Mm-hmm. And this was just it. We have laws against this. You will no longer be allowed to sleep out on the street. There's laws against it. You can't do that in California. If you need help, there will be a place you go to get help. But no longer will people be allowed to sleep out on our streets. And think about this very simply. This is not fair to the citizens of California to have to live with cities that look like this. Absolutely not fair, and it's not right. And it's not fair to the most vulnerable Californians who are these homeless people that, we're simply allowing them to sleep out in the open. It doesn't work for anybody. So we have to have state-run institutions where these people can go and get the help that they need. Now, for anybody that's on the street in California that's not a California resident, they're going to get a one-way ticket out of this state. But for the California citizens that are most vulnerable, they are going to get the help they need, but they will get off the streets. And so we're going to have clean streets for the people of California. And for the most vulnerable in California, they're actually going to get the services they need. But this has to be done at the state level. It is far too big for any one community, one city, or one county to handle. Because as you well know, if one city tries to do the right thing, they're just going to move on to the next city or the next county, and the problem won't be solved. It has to be solved at the state level. So we used to do this. The problem was it wasn't done well. We need to have these, must be clean facilities, well monitored, they must be accountable, and people actually have to get the help that they need. There's going to be some cost associated, but remember, the long-term cost is going to be dramatically less than people dying on the streets of San Diego of hepatitis, right? Of all of these people that are now crowding into our jails because they're committing all these petty crimes. And really the cost to society of the emergency room visits and all of these people that really need our help, but they're not getting the help that they can get. So the state's got to step in. We must have statewide institutions. They must be clean, efficient, and well monitored. But we got to get these people off the streets, get them the help they need, and give the California citizens the right, once again, to live in clean cities and clean towns across the state of California.
Hey, look, it has turned into a medical problem down in San Diego with the hepatitis A outbreak, and up in San Francisco with the syringes and all the parks and that. It has turned into a medical problem here in Los Angeles with the human feces and that's being distributed in the air and the rats and the fleas and all that stuff that's creating a medical emergency. It's really a state of emergency if you really think about it. And in that respect, and there has not been a solution for a good 25 years or 30 years, and it's got
which is the problem,
right?
As soon as they stop doing these statewide institutions, and by the way, I think my phone's about to die here, and they're going to call me back in the legislature.
Yeah,
got about
okay.
1 more minute.
Okay.
But this is what we used to have a solution.
Right.
When they stopped those statewide institutions, that's when the homelessness started to explode in California.
About 85.
Because the bottom line, it's bigger than any community. It's got to be done at the state level.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit your 5-point plan real fast again and tell us where people can get involved with you. I know the election is June 5th, but hit the plan. Tell us how they can get involved with you and follow you and maybe be able to reach out to you.
You better believe it. And look, I'd love to come on again. So Travis Allen, very simple. I'm the only person born and raised right here in the state of California with a rock-solid conservative vote record. I'm the only person running for governor that actually supported our president, the Republican nominee, Donald Trump. I'm the only guy that has stood up for Californians at every single turn. And my plan for California is very simple. Day one, we're going to repeal that gas tax. In my first 100 days in office, we are going to reverse the illegal sanctuary state. In my first budget, we're going to defund the high-speed rail and return the money back to you, the California taxpayers. And then we're going to get voter ID in California and get rid of this election fraud. Then we'll get to work on my 5-point plan for California. Number one, cut taxes. We're going to cut the income tax, the sales tax, the corporate tax, and put a sign on this building right here that we are open for business. Then we're going to get tough on crime. We're going to repeal AB 109, Prop 57, and Prop 47.
Yes.
All the soft crime laws of California Democrats, right?
Yes.
These are felonies turning into misdemeanors and sex offenders getting out of jail early. No longer. And we're going to make California a shall issue CCW state. I've actually already put legislation forward for that because you have the right to defend yourself anywhere in the state of California, anytime, day or night, whether you're man or woman, rich or old, rich or poor, young or old.
Absolutely.
And then we're going to get rid of the handgun registry. We're going to get rid of the ammunition registry of the California Democrats. Serves no purpose. So we're going to make California safe again. Then we're going to fix our roads, expand our freeways with no new taxpayer dollars. Look, we have the best technology, the best workforce in the nation. Don't tell me we can't expand our freeways. We'll make them double-decker if we need to, but we're getting you out of traffic without raising your taxes to do it. Then we're going to fix our broken education system by giving parents the choice to send their kids to the very best public school, the very best charter school, or homeschool their children if they wish. We will get rid of the statewide mandated Common Core and all that leftist propaganda in our schools. By the way, I am a huge opponent of SB 277, that forced vaccination of children, especially when the families have a medical reason why their kids shouldn't be getting it. When we were kids, we got 14 to 17 vaccinations. The list is now over 70, and some kids are getting up to 19 in a single setting. That sounds a little too controlling to me, and I don't think they have the longitudinal science studies to back up the safety of that for every single child. So I'm a huge opponent of that. And lastly, in California, we must complete the California State Water Project, which means building new water storage up and down the state of California. Sites Reservoir, Temperance Flats, raising Shasta Dam. No longer are we going to watch 50% of our water wash out underneath the Golden Gate Bridge every year. We're not going to steal it from the north. We're not going to drain the Delta. Those Delta tunnels will never get built. We're going to build new water storage up and down the state. So when it rains, we finally store our water. And that means every Californian is going to have the ability to take a long shower. You're going to have a green lawn, and you better believe we're going to flood the Central Valley. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Travis Allen. I am the only true conservative in the race, and I'll tell you right now, I will be your next governor of the state of California. If you like what you heard, find me on Facebook at Join Travis Allen. Find me online at jointravisallen.com. This election on June 5th will change your life. It will change the entire state of California. And when we take back our state, we take back our country. Once we have a Republican, a rock-solid conservative, the next governor of the state of California, we change the electoral map around the nation for a generation. We will keep the White House for a generation. So with that, my name is Travis Allen. We have been the forgotten Californians. We have been the silent supermajority. We will be silent no longer. Let's go take back California.
Oh, yeah. Hoorah. Yeah, I like that. Travis, thanks all for hanging out with us. A good solid hour, and I really appreciate the time that you took out today. And I know the citizens and our listeners and our viewers, this is the first time many of them have seen and heard you, and they heard a lot of cool things, man. And I really appreciate your time.
I love it.
Hey,
thank you so much. Look, hey, it's about time we put California citizens first. So if you like what you hear, find me on Facebook, find me online, join Travis Allen, tell all your neighbors, tell all your friends, get out there and vote. Every single vote counts. They said we couldn't win in 2016. They were wrong. They said we can't win in 2018. They're going to be wrong. In 2016, we took back our country. 2018, we take back our state.
Have your chief of staff give me a call. I want to set some stuff up with her and have you back on the show. Maybe we can come out to one of your rallies or something down south there.
You bet. I can't wait. Thanks so much.
Hey, absolutely.
Let's take back California.
Running for governor, Travis Allen checking in on the Jesse T Show today. And, hey, that's what it's all about. We're getting close to June 5th, and we're going to get some more politicians in here, too, as well in the last remaining week here, so you can kind of get a little idea of what's going on here in the state of California, all right? Hey, it's the Jesse T Show every Monday through Friday right here from 5 to 6. Good to have you along, archived up on YouTube, archived up on Periscope and Facebook, archived up on the Power of Voices right now as we radiate out there, on there and everywhere, from the community to the world according to Torero. I like that. I like what I heard. I do. I like what I heard. Absolutely. Hey, you're straight on the point. The Brown Beauty's off duty. See ya. Give me my guns, baby. Give me my CCW. Build that wall.